Hello and welcome to Learning Arduino in Practical Section 3. Okay, every Arduino program has four parts. The first part is here. In this place, we define some global variable. Global variable are kind of variable that they can be used for all part of program. And of course, there are local variables too. We will talk about them later. Furthermore, this place is used for adding libraries to our program and define some constant too. At the next part, I mean red one, we have void setup. Void setup is a place to mention pins as an input or output, a starting interface for example, serial interface, and of course we can set our interrupts, timers, and act. Third part is void loop. Void loop is a place that main part of our program will be wrote. For example, turning on and off a port with a little delay, some conditional statement, and other structure right here too. And the last part is a place for user functions. It could be interrupt function and act. You can write your function here and just call it in your program. I mean your main body of your program. As you know, functions have interrupt has important role in programming, and of course they help to have a nice programming structure. Okay, after this little introduction, let's scrutinize some programming structure and rules. At the first of each program is defining variable. Variables are something that they have changed by program or just return some constant value. For example, we're going to save a sensor's data. At the first, we need to define variable, and after that, program read the sensor and return its value to our variable. We have enough practical example about sensors in next session too. The first type of variable is int. Int is integer variable and just accept digits, and its maximum and minimum had been shown in this table. For example, we define a as integer here, and it have 0 value for its initiate value. This value can change by program too. Next variable is char. I hear some guys call it char too. Char is used to define characters, and mm, and as you can see, we can define a number as a character too. Next is boolean. Boolean just have two conditions, true and false. The next is long. Long is a kind of variable that accepts numbers, but number could be bigger than int variables. In the right table, you can see the difference between long and int. In the end, we have arrays. An array can accept multiple input such as digits, characters, and act. You can define arrays lengths too. For example, we have f here that accept 10 members. Furthermore, an array could have undefined lengths too, such g. In this situation, the array's length determined by its members' length. Okay, let's talk about high and low logic. As you may know, we define 5 volt as 1 in logic and 0 volt as a 0 logic. In Arduino programming, we use high and low instrument to change pin's state. We can define a pin to be high, so in practical this pin have 5 volt. This is the same for low too. The next part of each program is void setup. Void setup is a place to have first definition of your program. For example, you can mention a pin as output or input. We have example here. The pin 13 defined as output and 12 as input. In this instruction, we need to write output and input with capital letter. Another definition could be interrupt connection interface, such as SPI, I2C, UART, and of course serial interface. You can determine its boundary too. What about a void loop? Void loop is a place for main body of program, and its name shown. There is a, there is a loop here, and it means your code repeat over and over, line by line. For example, you want to flash a LED, so at the first you need to turn it on, make delay, turn it off, and again delay, and put it in a void loop and let it to be repeat. By this way, you have a LED flasher. Another aspect that void loop has is local variable. This kind of variable are same as a global ones, but they just allowed it to be used in void loop, not entire program. Void loop is a place for conditional statement too, such as while, for, if conditions, and act. We will talk about them in next sessions. At the continue, we are going to talk about some functions that are more common. The first one is digitalWrite. By using this order, we can define a pin or a port as a high or low. You can see an example here. Another one is digitalRead that lets you define a digital pin as an input and read your pin's condition. In this situation, there is a there's a device that sends 0 and 1 logic, such as a sensor with digital output, and your pin just reads 0 and 1s. In last session, we had shown that Arduino board has analog inputs too, so we can read them or even write on them. Analog pins use ADC or analog to digital converter with 10-bit precision to read analog data, so its value change between 0 to 1000 or 23. And about analogRead, we know is we know it as a PWM2, my means pulse width modulation. This order provides condition that user can make an analog value. This value can be differ from 0 to 255. In the end, we have delay, that it make a delay in your program. For example, delay 1000 means 1 second delay. One thing that make Arduino different from others is its easy way to communicate with serial port. Serial port is really helpful because it's let you watch your sensors output and act. In the other hand, serial port act as a LCD for your Arduino. The first order lets you print a statement or a string of characters at the serial port. For example, this order print our channel name at serial port. To print a variable such as a sensor's output, we use same order, I means serial.print, but without quotation. Serial.println print your value in new line 2. There's a feature here to send a value to a string into Arduino serial port, and its order has been shown below. Okay, thank you for your watching, and please support us by your subscription. Thank you.